Once again, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or good afternoon or good evening, depending on when you're watching this video. We are going to work on lesson 20, which is converting measurements. And we're going to focus on just the picture and the converting in number form today more so than the word problems. So let's get started. On page 32 of your math workbook is reference sheet. We went ahead and several times discussed the fact that we should have down to 12 inches equals 1 foot and 3 feet equals 1 yard. Okay, those are really important to remember. And the only other ones that we need to remember are our ones with our millimeters, our centimeters, and our meters. Okay? All these other ones, we have the reference sheet to kind of help us and fall back on. If I was giving a test, I would certainly provide you with this work here, these, but I wouldn't necessarily give you this information here or the information here. Those are the ones that we should get in the habit of knowing or memorize. All right, so let's work on some problems. I'm on page 86 in my workbook. Whether you are working on a different page or not, it is lesson 20 problem set. Okay, and as I scroll down here, okay, I will see that our directions ask us to convert and to show our work. And if needed, we can show it into a mixed number. It says draw a tape diagram if it helps. And I will kind of moving around. It's kind of nice. Make some tape diagrams to help you too. This is the teach part of the video. If you feel comfortable after this, let's try that again. If you feel comfortable after this, you can go right into your exit ticket. However, if you are a little bit uncomfortable, go to the we do part of the video, and it'll give us a few extra problems to work on. Okay? Be proactive. Know what you can handle. Okay? Even if you can't do it right this moment, okay, you watch the teach piece and you're like, it's still a little hesitant, I'm not quite sure. Okay, come back a little bit later in an hour or two or later in the day and tackle that we do problem so you feel more comfortable before looking at that exit ticket. All right, so here we go. I love how nice and neat this work is, and I hope that you would do it nice and neat as well as you take those neat and organized pictures. We're going to start with letter C here. And notice that today it's in a mixed number, so that becomes a little bit difficult. And we can't just immediately convert it as we did yesterday, last lesson. Okay? So I'm going to do it in picture form first, and then I'm going to do it in numbers. Okay? So I have 4 feet. Okay? So I'm going to just quickly draw tape diagrams that represent a foot each. There's 4 of them. I might even label that this is 1 foot, each of them. Okay? So what do I know about 1 foot in inches? Well, I know that 1 foot equals 12 inches. So therefore, I'm going to say that this in here is 12 inches, and this one is 12 inches, this one is 12 inches, and the final one is 12 inches. But I now need to have 2/3 of a foot. So in my next tape diagram, which also I'm going to label 1 foot, I know that I need it into, let's say, thirds. And I need 2 of them. Make an end. And so how do I find that? Well, 1 foot is really equaling 12 inches. So 12 inches in 3 spots. I might think of it, 3 units equals 12. So that 1 unit must equal, well, 12 divided by 3 in 3 boxes. So 12 divided by 3 is going to give us 4. So 4 inches. 4 inches. We only want those in the end section, this part right here. So how much do you have altogether? Well, going back to our 12s. We have 4 of them. I'm going to multiply those. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. And then I have an additional 8 right here. Add those up, I'm going to get 56. Right? Now, this is not the full answer. It's only half the answer. Make sure that you label it. Come back up and put 56 inches. If you want down here and put 56 inches, you could do that as well. Right? It takes a little time in picture format, but certainly doable. If we look at it in another way, and I'm not going to use this right now, I'm going to use this space to be neat and organized. If you run out of space as I did in your workbook, you have that left-hand side of the page to help you out. If you're on scratch paper, just find another open spot. So if I was looking at 4 2/3 feet again, and I want to turn it into inches, in number form this time, I'm going to turn this into a fraction to make it look like our work from the other day. So in our 4 wholes, I'm thinking 3/3 and another 3/3 and another 3/3 and a fourth 3/3. All of this together, okay, or 4 times 3 is going to give us 12/3. And I also have the 2/3 left over. So I have a total of 14/3. Now, as we worked on the previous lesson, I have 14/3 feet turned to inches. And we mentioned taking our 14/3 and we're going to multiply it by 1 foot. But our 1 foot is really going to be 12 inches. I'm going to do 14/3 times 12 inches. And I can certainly rewrite that as 14 times 12 divided by 3. Now, being proactive as I am, I noticed that the 12 and the 3 work really well together. I know that 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I'm going to cross these out and I'm going to put 4 here. Now I'm left with 14 times 4. I'm going to come off to the side here and do 14 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, so I have to bundle the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. And look at that, 56. Make sure that you have a label or you put it into your answer here in the blank, and it matches. 56 over here, inches, 56 inches over here. I'm not concerned in which one you do. You want to focus on a model? Great. You want to focus on turning your mixed number into a fraction to begin with? Go for it. Okay? Maybe you even want to do both. Wow, that's a notion. Go ahead and do both, and it can be used as a check. So that is letter C. Let's try E. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to draw a picture, and I'm going to start over here just so I have a little bit more room. And I'm going to say that this tape diagram here represents 1 hour. I need 3 of them. So I'm going to draw another one for an hour and another one for an hour. I'm going to then rewrite these and say, well, I need it in minutes. So here's 60 minutes, this one's 60 minutes, and this one's 60 minutes. But now I have one tape diagram left over, which I'll make just a little bit bigger. And I'm still going to label that 1 hour. But I need 3/5 of it. So I'm going to break it up into 5 parts. And I need 3 of them. I'm going to put it in an N. And what is that? Now going back and thinking that 1 hour is really 60 minutes, I'm going to have 3 units. Not 3 units. Let's back that up here. It's not 3. We want a total of 5 units. We're starting with 5 units that are equaling 60. So 1 unit. Well, how are we going to find 1 unit? Well, we need to divide. 60 divided by 5. If you're not sure how to do that, or not sure in your head, come off to the side. 60 divided by 5. Remember, 60 goes underneath our house in our standard algorithm. How many 5s go into 6? 1. It means I used 5 of them. Find the difference of them to get 1. You're great at bringing down the 0. How many 5s go into 10? 2. So 1 unit is going to be 12. So then this one's going to be 12. We only need 3 of them. How many minutes do you have altogether? Well, 60 times 3, or 6 times 3, is 18, and it's 10 times as big, so 180 minutes. And I'm going to add 12 plus 12 plus 12, which is 36. Add those together, find the sum, 8, 9, 10, 11. Add bundle the 1, 216 minutes. Make sure we have a label. Okay? That is in picture form. Okay, although there is some numbers here to it. If we're going to do it in the little algorithm type way with just numbers, and we're going to turn this into a fraction. Well, it's really nice to work with 5 since it's already in fifths. So how many fifths are there all together? Well, this is going to give us 15 fifths, 16, 17, 18 fifths. And we're going to multiply that by 1 foot. Again, we're separating our number with our label here. I'm going to then, in our next step, turn this into our yards. Well, got that wrong there. Let's back up. We're looking at minutes. Woo! And I'm sure many of you would be raising your hand right now saying, Mr. Phillip, you are really off. Right? And you would be correct. Right? We still have 3 3/5, but it's now in hours. Right? We're going to change this into minutes. 18 fifths times 60 minutes. And what do we get? 18 times 60 divided by 5. Wow, look at that. I see a nice division problem. 60 divided by 5, which is the same that we had over here. 60 divided by 5 is really 12. Now let's multiply 18 times 12. Write this off to the side. 18 times 12. I'll get a different color. 2 times, well, let's focus on the 2 first. 2 times 8 is 16. We have to bundle. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Now I'm done with the 2. That means I'm done in the 1's place. Everything's going to be 10 times as large. Now we're going to focus on the 1. 1 times 8 is 8. And 1 times 1 is 1. And we're going to find the sum. 6. 8 is going to be our 11. We're going to bundle, add these two together, giving us 216 minutes. And look at that, it matches both of those. Now, really quick and short, I gave you 2 examples with 2 different strategies for each of those. Now at this point, if you were in class, we'd break up into some small groups a little bit, have some better discussion, get some extra practice. If you are someone who needs that extra practice, right? And again, be proactive, as said earlier, then go into our we're going to do it together type video before tackling that exit ticket. You feel really comfortable and you're ready to tackle that exit ticket, go for it. Make sure your picture is clear and labeled as you work. Right? Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and know that you can do this. You got it.